Tanse. My name is Matthew Wildcat. I'm a research fellow at the Wahkohtowin Law and Governance Lodge and assistant professor at the University of Alberta. I'm also a member of Ermineskin Cree Nation. We're out here today on Ermineskin Cree Nation Reserve in my parents' yard where I grew up. The Wahkohtowin Lodge was created as a partnership between the faculties of Native Studies and Law in 2018. The motto of the lodge is upholding Indigenous law and governance, and I wanted to come out here today to the place where I first began to learn about those concepts. What I want to talk about right now is the connection between Indigenous sovereignty and Indigenous law and governance. Sovereignty is one of those big $50 words that people like to throw around. It's really hard to define. I think that's a good thing. Being able to discuss and debate, agree and disagree, these are all sovereign practices. One of the other ways we can talk about Indigenous sovereignty is through its spiritual basis. We might say that sovereignty is something the Creator has given to us. We don't own it or we don't control it. But we still have a responsibility to nurture it, to give life, and to breathe energy into our sovereignties. One of the ways we do this, the main way we do this, is through the relationships that we maintain with each other at the family level, but also within and between communities and nations, and through our relationships with the natural world. But when we talk about sovereignty, I also think we need to talk about colonialism. Colonialism has impacted our relationships that we can have with each other and Indigenous nations, and it's undermined the way in which we can make collective decisions. I think we should feel free to admit that colonialism has damaged our legal and political systems without the fear that this undermines our sovereignties. The reason here is important. While sovereignty is connected to law and governance, they're not the same things. Our sovereignties are bigger than ourselves. It's something that's been given to us. And as such, someone can't simply take it away. If sovereignty is the spirit and the philosophy that makes us independent, law and governance are the tools or the vehicles through which we realize our sovereignty on the ground. Discussing the challenges facing our legal and political systems doesn't undermine our sovereignty. It gives us the greatest chance to realize our sovereignties to the fullest extent. The Wahkohtowin Lodge exists to uphold Indigenous law and governance. This is incredibly difficult work, but we need to build systems that we can be proud of, not just some of the time, but most of the time. The Lodge is a center for research and training that brings people together to learn and to grow in the face of our most pressing challenges. It exists to support communities to identify, articulate, and implement their own goals around law and governance. And finally, it exists as a space to bring people together, our best minds and our most experienced people who can discuss, debate, and communicate about how we uphold Indigenous law and governance. This takes the work of many, academics, community leaders, elders, students, and youth. We're very privileged to be undertaking this work with all of you together.